Where's that? We need a little more bass on this, don't we?
Stupid music. Asinine.
Heads up. She's almost.
All right.
That's right.
Here we go.
22 in front of 8 o'clock.
God.
Tracy?
Yes.
How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Not bad.
Good.
How's your...
You and Mike, and you're in Detroit?
That's right.
All right.
How's your radio tour going?
You know, it's pretty wild and wacky.
I'm sure. Do people read the book?
You know, sometimes they read it, sometimes they just leaf through the pictures.
Yeah, I read it.
People are waiting for the book on tape or perhaps a pop-up version.
I know, that's too bad.
The pictures are fantastic. My God, you're gorgeous. The body, unbelievable. And the high heels, I'm a fool for high heels and the thigh highs and everything else. And you've got, every photograph is like 4 or 5 inch high heel pumps. Wow.
Well, not everyone. I mean,
not everyone.
Of course, are from really the early 90s. You know, I had 3 best-selling calendars out and some pinups, and I wanted part of the book to, you know, this is not a porn book. There are no nudes or anything like that in there, but I think that they're all really tasteful, and they're just, you know, some fashion pictures and things and just different photographers that I think that are really brilliant that I had the opportunity to work with throughout the years.
Smoking hot.
Well, don't get mad at me, Tracy, but I did get titillated at some parts you probably didn't want me to get titillated at.
You know, in writing my autobiography underneath it all, I just really did not want to try to tell anybody what to think or how to think. I just really tried to just put out how I felt at the time.
I don't have to feel guilty?
No, I'm not selling guilt here.
Okay, good.
It's impossible not to.
My experiences is what happened to me. And, you know, I think that the book is really a tell-all in that sense of it's really from the cradle till present in porn, and then how I really made it out of that and have gone on to have an incredible career in Hollywood in spite of it, and so that's the deal.
Well, now, when you did Penthouse at 15, did Bob Guccione know you were 15?
No, I mean, I never even actually met Bob Guccione.
Oh, you didn't?
Oh,
okay.
Is that right?
I answered an ad for models in a newspaper in Los Angeles, and I was a runaway, and you know, I had, you know, a lot of problems. I was a really troubled kid. I'd been raped at 10, and my mother's boyfriend was molesting me at home, and I just really was desperate to get out of the house. I couldn't really hold down the interview for even a burger job just because I wasn't the most well-spoken person at that time. I was pretty shy, and I ended up getting a fake ID and answering an ad for Models Wanted, and I sort of bought into the whole thing that this is how everybody started, meaning the nudes to start with, and it just shockingly was pretty easy the way that I fell into the whole thing about 9 months later.
Well, I knew you were troubled when you said you had dreams and just penises just floating, bumping into each other, just dicks.
All over the place.
Well, you're talking about later, and, you know, I can definitely appreciate the fact that it sounds kind of funny, but it wasn't really, because what you're dealing with is a young kid's psyche. Yeah, it was like, you know, a total head trip of, you know, me thinking that sex was power and where I placed that as a kid, and then ultimately feeling like it was driving me crazy. So by the time that all happened in '86, as much as, you know, I was a coked-out kid at the time and I didn't appreciate the fact that the FBI broke down my door, I'm really grateful that happened ultimately now, because it really did end up saving my life. Yeah, I do talk about the fact that I had, like, weird sex dreams and things that happened, and how could I not? I mean, starring in porn movies at such a young age, and just having all the baggage from being, you know, abused as a kid, and it's really, the first half of the book is pretty heavy, and I do talk about all that stuff. In the second half of the book, I really talk about, you know, how amazing it was that I made it out of that, and the trip that I had later as far as working with people like John Waters and, you know, just Johnny Depp and doing the series stuff. I don't think people really know, you know, the journey, how much I've really been through and what it's all really been about, and just makes it that much more amazing, I think, that I'm still standing.
When you went to the newsstand, I think you were maybe 15-year-old. You were kind of the it girl at that time, and you said you went to the newsstand, and every magazine was you.
Well, I know that, you know, that was definitely my perception at the time. I was pretty, I mean, porn was a different thing when I was doing it. When I was 15 years old.
Well, this is just magazine. I think it was magazine.
Yeah, just the still photos.
Between VHS and Beta, you know?
Yeah.
That was pretty shocking to me.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but you'd done all these photo shoots, but it probably hadn't clicked in your mind that, oh, my God, all these things are at once, and people are taking photos and putting them in magazines I don't even know of, and here you go to the stand, and there you are everywhere. And it's just strange how that works, how you suddenly get sort of trampolined into just you're everything. You're the girl at the time. And Ginger Lynn, I guess, was the one you sort of displaced. Or wasn't she kind of the it girl before you?
Yeah, I think she was. Actually.
Yeah. She was very beautiful, too.
Yeah, and she's actually had some success, hasn't she? She's done some mainstream stuff like yourself.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about, I haven't had really any contact with anyone in that business for almost 18 years now.
Oh no, I mean I've seen her in some mainstream movies.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
been around.
I think she's done pretty well for herself actually since I don't know if does she still do porn? I don't even know.
I don't think so. I mean
certainly not
gone,
a lot of stuff, but it is nice now that in this day and age, I don't think people hold grudges the way they used to in the entertainment industry. And people, as you mentioned, a lot of people don't get out of it, but the ones that have, it is encouraging that society's a little more open.
I think it's a really difficult thing to overcome. I disagree with you. I think there's a lot of stigma attached to porn, and in my case, being so young and going through that, and then as an adult dealing with the consequences of that choice, I certainly wouldn't recommend it to any young girl that thought this is a viable way to make it in Hollywood. I think that's a really ugly industry.
Well, no, I didn't mean I would recommend it. I just mean that society looking at someone who emerges from it doesn't, I don't think the grudge is as nearly as strong as it would have been, say, 20 years ago.
Yeah, because it used to be if somebody posed nude, it seems like that was the end of their career. They had to avoid it at all costs. But anymore, it's well tolerated. And just like some of the Hollywood stars end up in Playboy and that sort of thing these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I definitely think there's a big difference in Hollywood as far as posing for Playboy or being in porn.
Well, yeah, there's a huge difference.
I'm not sure we're having a meeting of the minds on that, but you did end up on Melrose Place and in a movie with Johnny Depp, Cry Baby, and how was Melrose Place? That sounded like fun.
Yeah, some of that stuff, especially in particular the Cry Baby chapters in my book, were the most fun to write about because I lived for 3 months in Baltimore with Iggy Pop living down the corridor.
Wow.
And, Ricky Lake living below me and Johnny Depp living above me.
Holy
so it was a pretty
smokes.
wild cast that John Waters put together. And that stuff was just a blast.
How did the Melrose people treat you, the Heather Locklears and...
I thought that those women were wonderful. I mean, I had no problem with any of them. They were all pretty seasoned. God, that scripts on that show just got so out there. I'm trying to remember what was your character? What were some of the bizarre things that your character was involved in? Well, I played Ricky, and I was Sydney's new roommate, and I was trying to lure Sydney into a cult.
I always liked Sydney.
So Sydney was always running into some kind of trouble.
Right.
But I did all kinds of wonderfully wicked things on that show. Like I destroyed Jake's bar. I think I was angry about the lack thereof of a happy hour or something. And, I cut up Jane's clothes because she had the whole clothing line. And I did some pretty harmless but wicked things on the show.
Are you working on a movie now, or do you have anything coming up movie wise?
I have a film coming out called Chump Change, and it's coming out early next year from Miramax. And I just actually won Best Actress in a Comedy at the U.S. Comedy Arts Festival.
Whoa, is that right?
Other than that, I've just been, I've been on this wild book tour. And, of course, it's called Traci Lord's Underneath It All. And I've been talking to a lot of people like you guys. Yeah, no, the book, I can see why it would do well. I mean, it's just such a multifaceted story. And I've always wondered how this starts, and typical teenage runaway, it makes sense to me. But I can't believe how manipulative, well, I mean, it's silly to say I can't believe, but just the idea that someone would be told like yourself that, hey, all you got to do is walk around this pool in a bikini and everything's cool, and the next thing you know, your resistance lowered by alcohol, you're having sex with someone, and they say, oh, we just happened to catch that on film. Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous and it sounds really gullible, and honestly it was. Mm-hmm. But, what can I say? As a 15-year-old kid, I guess I believed what I wanted to believe. That's ultimately the truth. But I can't believe that someone, a human adult, would actually say, oh, we'll just tell her she walks around the pool and then maybe see if you can wear her down in the kitchen or something, get her bombed, or, I don't know what their mindset was, but obviously something like that. And then it ends up in a movie, and it's just amazing to me that there are people so scummy. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and there are a lot of them, especially in this town, meaning in Hollywood, and I think that, the young girl being taken advantage is, the local after-school special. It happens a lot. In terms of drugs versus alcohol, or drugs and alcohol, what lowers one's resistance in terms of sex the most, or did you feel was your biggest enemy in that regard? More than, and it certainly was, drugs and alcohol played a part in it. But for me, more than any of that, it was the fact that, I was just so vulnerable as far as and angry and rebellious as far as, sex itself went. I really thought that, this must be what little girls are made for, because I'd had such, horrific things happen to me at such a young age that I had zero self-esteem, and I just thought that this was basically the best I could do.
But I thought you described at one point even seeing a video or maybe being in a video and being turned on, and I thought, is that just the cocaine or alcohol or just you loving it?
Well, if you read the book, there are 3 chapters I really talk about because there were 3 years that it happened in, from 15 to 18, and it wasn't that, for me, the sex was power, and if anything was a turn on, it was that kind of a head trip that was a turn on, feeling like I had some control over my life.
Yeah, you said you were a sexual terrorist. How would you said you were a sexual terrorist?
Yeah, I thought that, it's funny, a lot of people have picked up on that phrase. And I guess what I meant by that is that it's just, for me, the whole power trip of all of it, it was the acting out of it. It was the aggressiveness in that. Does
it kind of blow your mind to have gone through all these things that obviously are negative to you, to be a runaway, to be in still pictures nude, to be taken advantage of by adult men? Does it blow your mind that you were actually so good at it? I mean, that there are actually people out there going, oh, Traci Lords, man, she was fantastic in, setting aside what you're doing now, saying that, my God, she was the best in that field. Does that blow your mind a little bit?
Well, once again, you're going back to opinion, perception, and what people thought of me.
But people say that
in those films or whatever is really up to them. In writing this book, all I tried to do was say, this is what I was thinking, and for me, this was what my power trip was about, and this is what those days were about to me.
So you don't have an opinion in terms of the fact that there are a lot of people who write a book if they had your story. And maybe it wasn't successful, or people didn't even care to see their movies, or it didn't sell. I mean, does it blow your mind that tons of money was made, and that people actually thought that this was something they were desperate to see?
Well, I think that it's pretty sad when anybody profits from exploiting a kid, and it's, as I said before, unfortunately, it's not all that unique.
All right, Traci. Traci Lords, Underneath It All, Amazon.com. I found it at Borders, I believe. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's in the bookstores. It's been out for about a month now, and I thank you both for taking the time to interview me.
It's quite a story, Traci.
You guys have a great day.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh my God.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. What I can't get over is having, what did she say about her career? This incredible career?
Yeah, post-porn.
Right.
I didn't know she did anything post-porn.
Well, she's done some things, but, it pisses me off that, the book is... Well, here, I decided not to read this passage.
That would have gone on like I don't know what.
My naked body met the flesh of the swimming creature, and I startled her by this is Ginger Lynn, by boldly running a finger across her belly. Our eyes met, and I held my breath, waiting for her reaction. She smiled and splashed water at me. She was long, lean, and full of life. Laughing, she pulled me close and wrapped her arms around me, her cool skin pressed against mine. This doesn't sound like an exploited teenage runaway.
It doesn't sound like the person we just talked to either. Who seems appalled by this stuff.
Right, this is written, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I breathed her in, holding on to her, finding refuge in her arms. She kissed me softly, and I kissed her back. It was different from all the other kisses I'd given and received that day on film.
I think if you read that at this point, she'd be going, you guys, that was when I was vulnerable, and it was a bad period in my life. And that's how it was, but...
I lost myself in the moment. A wave of wooziness washed over me. Where was I? I looked to the sky. The woman bit me sharply on the nape of my neck and brought my attention back to her. I felt hands on my hips as someone slowly entered me from behind. I lost my breath. A sharp gasp escaped as he sank...
to the base.
Yeah.
To the base.
It sounds strange when you read it. Entered me from behind.
Entered
you from behind.
God, I didn't even think about that.
Is this your autobiography?
Yeah, no, this is not me. I usually make that clear.
You'll have to find to the entered me from behind.
Yeah,
you'll have to pull that audio.
Crap.
Gladly. I was watching you in the pool, Drew. All of a sudden there was some dude behind you.
I was dried off, put back into makeup, and met with the smirking face of Ginger Lynn, the petite, blonde-haired, blue-eyed 20-something who had been the reigning diva of porn the past year. Is that not what I was trying to say? She was the it girl? Well, I don't know. Didn't she didn't
want to get in. No, I know.
Why do you write the book?
She's like,
then?
I don't know if she was or not. I don't know.
Why don't you write 3 pages on this and the rest, because this will sell, but you don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. I wanted to ask her about Ron Jeremy, too, because that video, when all of a sudden the hog comes into view, his big, hairy, gross ass, comes running in all of Bob Crane. just like the building was on fire, the guy, and the vicious pumping and carrying on. And there's Ron Jeremy, who's, basically, look at all the cameos and movies he's been in. She'd hate that parallel, though.
Didn't she make it sound like she was like kidnapped by the porn world for about a month?
Yeah,
and then that was it.
Yeah, it was.
Look at this picture in her book. I mean, that's her with her shirt open, this see-through black bra, this come hither look. It's like, what are we? We're almost like the Saudi Arabia of porn here. We want to play it both ways.
Well, it's just like she writes sexual terrorist, and there's like, everybody's just pulling that phrase out, and then she's like, everybody's an idiot for selecting that phrase.
She's lying in the hay with no top on, just a see-through sheer thing, which is barely covering something on top there.
Right.
Little itty-bitty.
Right.
That's pretty hot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hotter than hell.
I mean, I didn't think that was a bad question either to say, in spite of all this, all the horror, does it blow your mind that you were so good at it?
She was looking for acceptance from us. No, your questions were great. Your line of questioning was excellent. It's okay.
It pisses me off.
No.
I mean, you're basically asking her what does it feel like to be the queen of porn, basically.
Well, I thought it was fairly delicately asked. But you see, back a little bit.
She doesn't want to acknowledge or really even think about that era.
I love it when
I don't know why she wrote about it. I really don't.
I love it when people mention the name of their own book, too.
Yeah, they're afraid you're not going to.
As if we didn't mention it 18 times before she was on the air.
I know, that's why she felt compelled to tell us what the entire book was about, where it's available, the name of it, and everything else repeatedly.
And the first half of the book is about a horrible story of teenage Ronnie being exploited.
Yeah,
the second half is about my incredible Hollywood career, working with people like John Waters and Johnny Depp.
The second half of the book, of course, available at Amazon.com.
But she literally lied about Ginger Lynn. She said that in the book. I didn't pick that out of my head. She just decided I'm a porno creep that would have exploited her if I'd had the chance.
Yeah.
And then to say that she doesn't know if Ginger Lynn did anything mainstream.
I know it. She has no idea.
Now, wait a second.
I get the feeling that she felt all of a sudden competitive with her. Either that or that there was something there that almost like it seemed like it touched a nerve. Ginger Lynn is somebody she does not like at all.
You know what else touched a nerve and shouldn't have was the fact that people can be in porn and that society is more accepting of something seamy in someone's background, that we're willing to say, hey, we know this happened, but you're attractive and you can probably read some lines in a movie, and she has to disagree with that. Well, then why are you in movies now? Are you so special that you're the only one that's ever done anything naughty?
Well, and of course, the only reason why she did anything naughty was her terrible upbringing and all the things that came her way.
Why does she have to act like, I don't know, I don't even pay attention to anyone
I don't know. There's something there. It touched a nerve. Who knows what went on.
Wow. That goes in the worst of file.
Yep.
Yeah.
That sucks.
With Dennis
Stupid.
Were you star 69 now? 69.
Do we really want to ever talk to her again?
Well, you never know. She could go back into porn.
This is your automatic callback service. The number of your last incoming call was 3.
Shall we call it, see if it's her home phone? I'll star 67.
Tell you wanted to get like a station ID or something.
No, I don't want to talk.
No,
Jesus.
Gross.
Actually, it'll probably be busy.
No, the best thing is we'll mute her next interview. Let's just keep calling and calling. Just mute the hell out of her next interview.
You are calling does not take unidentified calls. Your caller ID is blocked. Temporarily unblock your caller ID and complete.
No, thank you.
Wait.
Every one of these pictures.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all.
Well, the way she described some of the porn
was provocative photographs.
Was written in a romance novel form, so I thought maybe she had at least a light sense of humor about it. The dreaming about dicks.
Oh, I know. That was bizarre.
Why?
She reacted terribly to that.
I don't know why that got so heavy, but she wrote it. I don't know why. I know. She acts like you're a creep for bringing it up.
How can we figure out her mind?
I think I feel like a creep for bringing it up. She made me feel like a creep.
Who wants to figure out her mind? It's not worth the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not worth the time.
You're so right, and that's the point. She wants us to understand her.
Yeah, and
we just want to talk about her career.
There you go.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Again, it's not worth the time to solve it.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
now we've rationalized any mistakes we might have made.
That's right. We're done with it.
Traci Lords, Underneath It All. It is a good read. I'm serious. I'm a little freaked out.
Hey, don't spend any more time thinking about it.
But
Let it go. Let it go.
It was interesting reading about that whole porn part. And I have to admit, I didn't read a great... I kind of stopped at the porn stuff.
It goes downhill from there.
Yeah. Can you imagine being her husband? You've married the wildest... You know what word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
The wildest ride in California.
One slut.
And she can't look at porn without throwing up.
That's right.
And she's done some of the wildest, hottest stuff with all these dudes.
Let's hope he found... Well.
And you can only really get to the tip of the iceberg. Bummer!
That's it.
I mean, wouldn't it be hot if she could still tap into it? I mean, if you were married to her, you'd want her to. I mean, it's your wife.
Yeah,
well... You know, half angel, half tart.
Yeah, but whoever she married, I mean, this guy that she married apparently, maybe he's a psychiatrist. I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah. All right. It's the riff.